The Asia Pacific, as you know, is the most disaster-prone region in the world. In the last 10 years, it's estimated that we've had over 1,300 disasters in this region. And with the climatic events, we expect these to worsen over time and get more intense frequency. In terms of the impact on people, it's been extraordinary. Over 1 billion people have been impacted by disasters. And the economic losses and damages are estimated at 4 billion. So it's an extraordinary impact, and the conversations that will be held at the conference in Sendai will be critically important for us for addressing this future in the region. Over the last 10 years, UNDP has actually invested close to $2 billion to support governments in better preparing for disasters when they occur and to help sustainably recover when they happen. And a good example that I would like to share is Typhoon Haiyan. In 2013, Typhoon Haiyan struck. It had devastating impact in the Philippines. As we know, it was unprecedented in scale. We've never seen a typhoon of that impact. And we can expect more of these super typhoons in the future, given the climatic changes that are happening. At that time, some 6,000 people died in the course of the Typhoon Haiyan. However, in close cooperation with the government, UNDP has worked to support their efforts. And a year later, when there was a typhoon that struck in the very same area, Typhoon Ruby, the government was better able to respond. Their early warning systems were working. Villages were evacuated quickly. Emergency response was able to be rolled out with immediate effect, and the sustainable recovery put in action. And the effect has been that far fewer people, only a fraction of these people that were devastated with Typhoon Haiyan have been impacted with Typhoon Ruby. I would just like to highlight 3 ways in which UNDP has engaged with governments to support them. First is in terms of understanding and communicating risk. The second is in reducing risk, and the third is in managing risk. If I can just take a moment, if we look at understanding and communicating risk, UNDP has worked with a number of countries in the region to look at their damages and losses that come from disasters. And this has been critically important to raise understanding of what the impact of disaster is on people, both in terms of human cost and in terms of economic cost. And this provides information with which governments can better plan in the future to prepare for disasters with early warning and to manage them in consequence. And in terms of reducing risks, a major effort has been made by UNDP to introduce disaster management at every level of government. That's at national level, that's at state and provincial level, right down to district and local level. And with these disaster management plans in place, it really helps in terms of preparing governments with first response, early response, and also in terms of managing the disaster when and if it happens. As one can never really control risks, you can't reduce risks entirely. In terms of managing risks, when and if the disasters occur, UNDP has been supporting governments in preparing what we call disaster needs assessments. And these disaster needs assessments help the government very quickly assess where the impact of the disaster has been and how we can reduce and mitigate the impact of the disaster, and how we can look at building the resilience and the sustainability of the efforts so that we can have a lasting impact on the communities.